Hello and welcome to Project Art Now. This week we are talking about sequels. For more storytelling talks and drawings, make sure to subscribe and click on the little bell. Hope you enjoyed the video and find value in it. As a storyteller, my goal here on YouTube is to grow and improve while helping others to do the same. With that in mind, your suggestions are always welcome and I will apply them when possible. Quick announcement. Next week there will be a new interview. We will have the pleasure of having Takano Masamune. You don't want to miss it. Also, if you haven't seen the previous interview with Rika, go check it out after this. I'm sure you will enjoy it. Now, let's get right to it. There are many sequels out there, some good, some bad, some half and half. Today, I will point out three in particular that clearly understood the segment: Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, The Legend of Korra, and The Lord of the Rings. In GX, at the starting stage of the series, Cyrus expresses how he would like the idea of Jaden being the reincarnation of an Asian pharaoh and he being his assistant. Jaden immediately chose down the idea. Now, that was of course just a silly little joke, but I think it was also a clever way for the writers to say even if GX builds upon the original series, it's a complete and different story. By the way, was Yugi the reincarnation of the pharaoh or his descendant, or neither? I think that was kind of ambiguous. I don't remember if it was explicitly explained. If you could refresh my memory in the comments, I'd be very thankful. Now, let's get back on track. You see, the thing that makes GX a great sequel is how it managed to be its own thing. Sure, there are plenty of references to the original series, like Jaden being a huge fan of Yugi, or the Kaiba cameos, which were fantastic. However, one can absolutely enjoy GX without the need of watching the original series. But, don't get me wrong, I absolutely recommend you to watch Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, being a story on its own while still acknowledging the original is one of the two reasons GX excels as a sequel. Here are the other two. Within the same world, it established the path for future sequels such as 5Ds, Sexal, and Arc 5, each of them being as far removed from the previous as possible, with the exception of Arc 5. As the nature of the story, it heavily depends on previous series to work. Now back to GX, what I meant by it established the path for future sequels is that as good as the others are, because they are, none of them could have worked right after Yu-Gi-Oh! From all the sequels, GX is the only series that naturally follow on the original. Imagine 5Ds right after Yu-Gi-Oh! Instead of GX. You'll see it's just not the same. Finally, the third reason GX is a good sequel is because it's a good series. I know that sounds like a basic and simple explanation, but at times, basic and simple is more than enough. So, in short, GX works as a sequel because 1. It works on its own without dismissing the series before it. 2. It naturally opened the way for other sequels to exist within the same universe. 3. It's a good series, as simple as that. Before we move on, let me know on the comments from all the Yu-Gi-Oh! Sequels which one is your favorite. Although I am giving a lot of praise to GX in this video, my actual favorite is R5 and I will definitely talk about it on a future video. Next on the list is The Legend of Korra. Now, from a storytelling perspective, both The Adventures of Korra and Aang could be seen as a single story instead of two separate ones that just happen to be on the same universe. Korra not only borrows elements from The Last Airbender, but creates a story that only works as a direct continuation as it goes beyond cameos even though it has plenty. But the connection goes deeper. For example, who's Korra's Airbender tutor who also acts as a father figure even though Korra has an actual father to whom she has a fairly good relationship with, but as a topic for another time I just felt like mentioning it. Tenzin, the son of Aang. What drives the story on season 3? The renaissance of the Airbenders. Other stuff happens as well, but it's all around the Airbenders. Another thing worth of mention is that as a result of the difference in time periods between the two series, Korra's world feels a lot different from Aang's, and that's a factor that, in my opinion, helps The Legend of Korra to work as a sequel, as it offers a different and either fresh perspective, but as I pointed out before, it's a clear continuation from the original series, and at the end of the day, that's the core definition of a sequel. at least from a storytelling point of view. Now, in short, what makes Korra a good sequel is the fact that it works well as a continuation from the original series, while at the same time being capable of work as its own thing. Now, you might find some similitudes with the things I said respecting GX, and I don't think that's a coincidence. Now, last but not least, The Lord of the Rings as a sequel to The Hobbit. Before I start on this section of the video, I want to clarify that for simplicity's sake, I will consider the whole trilogy altogether, because if I were to look at each book individually on the series and how well each one works as a sequel, well, let's just say this video will be at least 3 times longer. However, if you'd like me to do a more in-depth on how each book on The Lord of the Rings works as a sequel in respect to both The Hobbit and the book that goes right before itself, I'd be happy to do it. It could be a sequel to this video. Here is the thing about The Lord of the Rings as a sequel. It doesn't get overshadowed by its predecessor, unlike many other sequels, including the ones I have mentioned before. If anything, I think it's fair to say The Lord of the Rings overshadows The Hobbit. As a matter of fact, imagine The Hobbit doesn't exist at all. I think that in a world where Tolkien never wrote The Hobbit but did write The Lord of the Rings, it will maintain about the same level of success. Sure, one may ask questions like how did Bilbo got the ring in the first place, but I doubt that will ruin the overall enjoyment of the story. In fact, I believe there's people out there who have either seen the movies or read The Lord of the Rings books, while they have never watched or read The Hobbit. However, believe it or not, the fact that The Lord of the Rings story is good enough on its own doesn't necessarily mean it's a good sequel. What makes it a good sequel is how it takes the story before it and goes to the next level. Take the roles of Gollum and the ring itself in The Hobbit and compare them to the roles they play in The Lord of the Rings. I think it's fair to say the difference is huge, and that is why I believe The Lord of the Rings is such a great sequel. Now, those are just my thoughts, and I would love nothing more than to know yours. Let me know what elements do you consider to be necessary for a good sequel. Do you agree or disagree with what I have said here today? Also, tell me about your favorite sequels. Thanks a lot for watching. Now, before you go, here are 2 of my previous videos for your enjoyment. Bye bye.